So I'm Steve McDowell, and I'm here with Eric Herzog, my old friend, CMO at Infinidat. It's been a while since we talked. This is an exciting day. You guys, I think Infinidat is having one of the largest launches in your history. Is that right?
It's huge. Not only having a new system platform, but a ton of software to go with it, Steve.
So new system platform. So, and correct me because I just kind of skimmed through the press release this morning. You updated the hardware. We're at PCIe Gen 5, DDR5, so we're like almost doubling the performance of the InfiniBox.
We're using the AMD chipset.
Okay.
As you know, we don't do anything custom, so no custom array controller. We use off-the-shelf componentry. As you know, the magic of Infinidat is all around our InfuseOS operating system and the various pieces of software, Infiniverse, InfiniSafe, Neural Cache. We do have some patents around our hardware design, but we don't design components like flash or a RAID controller or custom ASICs. So we use off-the-shelf to do that, and we're using now the AMD chips, which support all that. And that has led to, again, up to 2x performance, depending on which performance parameter you're looking at. And of course, our industry-leading latency, which has been 35 mics, is still there. So some apps are bandwidth, some apps are IOPS, and others are latency. So we've got great performance in all areas, and compared to our third generation, the G4 platform is twice as fast in almost all parameters.
Oh, that's crazy. So let's talk about the hardware first, and then I want to jump into the OS. What are we modifying? InfiniBox?
Both the InfiniBox and the InfiniBox all-flash ground up using the AMD chipset. We have added a new configuration on the all-flash side. So we've had, last year we announced two partially populated, and you could upgrade them, non-disruptive upgrade. So you start with 60% capacity, then you can add more, or 80%, and of course we still sell the 100. And what we do with those products is obviously having the 60% allows us to have a lower price point. But now with the G4 platform, we have the 100%, the 80%, and the 60%, but we've added a configuration, full enterprise, InfuseOS, triple active architecture for all the redundancy, all of our guarantees, high-end, but we've been able to shrink the config into a 14 RACU config.
And what's driving the shrink? Is it you getting higher density drives?
Well, we've done a couple things that are driving that shrink. It's really application oriented. So first of all, we have some customers that are big, but they've got a remote location or something and want to use a third-party colo. So you've got to have a small configuration that fits, but they don't want to sacrifice the availability, the reliability, all the cybersecurity that we have by going to a mid-range platform. So we can give them a high-end platform and have it work in the colo. By the way, also, we'll let them install it in their own racks. So we have other customers that have, let's say, a big core data center, but they have remote locations, 20, 30, 40 of them. And there, guess what? The data center is a modified coat room. So there they need a nice compact configuration. So having a high-end enterprise, all the high-end enterprise features from the performance, the cyber, the latency, the ease of use that we have, of course, our set it, forget it mentality, that's perfect for those edge deployments. So colo to me is kind of edge. These, if you will, micro data centers are edge, and they get all the features of a high-end solution, but fitting in those applications. And obviously, we've also dropped the capacity. So the 60% all flash, for example, is around half a petabyte. Okay, now we're dropping it to 160 terabytes. So you've gone from 500 terabytes down to 160 on the usable side. And on the effective side, of course, we're at 387.
Right.
But still, that's a much smaller config, which means we also have a lower price point again.
And then you can scale up and grow into the
exactly like you've done before.
And scale up to where? Where's your...
Well, on the all-flash array, we're up to about 6.7 petabytes in the 100%. So you're pretty big. On our hybrid arrays, now we scale to 17.1 petabytes. So we've also upgraded the hybrid. So the hybrid has an upgraded version, G4. The all-flash is an upgraded G4. Now the 14 RACU is all-flash only. So that's an all-flash only config. But a lot of changes there. And of course, one of the real differentiators, in addition to the cyber, is our ability to have a greener data center while cutting CapEx and OpEx. So think about this. With our third generation, we have a customer, 450 floor tiles with the competition, 50 with us, running all the same workloads. So watts, slots, power, floor space, operational IT resources, all that shrank. And guess what? When they go from, let's say, the third generation to a G4, when they went from the competition to us, they had to recycle 450 floor tiles worth of stuff, which, as you know, in the computer business is filled with toxins. So it's not like putting the bottle or the newspaper into your recycling bin at home. This is expensive stuff. So now they can go from 50 floor tiles, and even if they go from 50 to 50, it's still way less expensive and way less toxic than what they did when they went from 450 to us. So all of that gives you both an environmental advantage, but also an economic advantage, because 450 floor tiles down to 50. So with this new performance, we think the consolidation play will be even better. So as that new power, instead of maybe running for certain companies 10 workloads on an InfiniBox or 15 on InfiniBox SSA, now with the performance, it could be 15 and 20, which means taking out that much more competitive gear and saving rack, stack, power, floor, saving economically, but also helping the environment. So all that is a result of having the new power in this platform, again, up to 2x on the performance side.
And investment protection, you have a rolling upgrade program?
Yes, so we're announcing Infiniverse Mobius as part of the launch today. And with Infiniverse Mobius, what it allows you to do is it allows you to upgrade. So when we're at G4 now, so if 3-4 years from now we come up with a G5, if you want to participate in Mobius, which you can do, it's option, it's not mandatory, so it's an optional program. You participate in Mobius. When the G5 comes out, all you do is upgrade the controllers. It's a non-disruptive upgrade process, just the way we do on the capacity side with our 1680. And you get to keep, though, your media. So if it's all flash, you keep the flash. If it's a hybrid, as you know, our hybrid is flash and spinning disk, mostly spinning disk, but it's both. So whether it's the hybrid G4 to G5 or the all-flash G4 to G5, you use Infiniverse Mobius, you keep the media, and all you do is swap out the controllers. And because we're active, a 3-node config, it's even safer to do the upgrade. Not only is it non-disruptive, but instead of having a dual controller upgrade, which is common in the mid-tier, nothing wrong with it, but in the mid-tier, what happens if something messes up? Not because it's on purpose, but literally something goes down just coincidentally, which of course, in today's world of 24/7 by 365, no one wants that. With a 3-controller architecture, you're absolutely much safer when you do this controller upgrade program.
All right, so a number of hardware enhancements. We've doubled the speed, we've shrunk the footprint. We also made some changes to Infiniverse. Let's talk about those.
Well, as you know, Infiniverse is part of our InfuseOS operating system. It's one of the key tenants, InfiniSafe, NeuralCache, Infiniverse. The Infiniverse allows us to grab incredible amounts of telemetry off our systems. We can aggregate those. We can see performance. We can see power. We can see the number of snapshots you've got on every box that you have in your configuration. But it's all what I'll call passive. You need to go into the software to see it. Now, the amount of data you can see, the dashboards are incredible. So we're going to make it more proactive. Think of it as an infrastructure consumption platform. And that will allow us to see all kinds of things, whether it be what snapshot we have, which ones are immutable, which ones are read-write. When we could see all that, but what if we could push that data out to the admins, to our technical advisors? We include technical advisors at no charge to every account. We only do level 3 tech support, so they're very sophisticated. Again, what if all this data would push? Not that you would have to go into Infiniverse to see it, but literally push. So the idea is by having that, you can much more easily overhaul your IT infrastructure. The odds of anything slipping through that's a bad thing just dropped because you can see ahead of time. Let's take a simple one. Storage as a service, what we call FLX. We retain legal rights. We own a typical storage as a service. Okay, great. What happens on the billing side? Just like a power bill, right? Up or down. Well, guess what? What if we had 500 of those boxes out there? Do we want to go into Infiniverse, which we could do to see what's going on easily? What if we could proactively, automatically send that to the account teams, automatically send that to the customer. Each customer would get to see where they're at. You're up this month, Steve. You're down this month, Steve. And then you'd know what would come for you. Right now, you'd have to go in. So you can go in and see that stuff. But you have to go in. Well, when we're set it and forget it mentality, with our service-oriented automation, where so much stuff is automated already from running the box, you wouldn't go into your InfiniBox or your InfiniBox SSA. You have no reason to. It's set and forget it. As I said, we have several public references. People have not looked at their box for 2, 3, or 4 years, and they put that in writing or in a video with us. And there's some of the biggest accounts in the world. So if you make Infiniverse more proactive, you can see all kinds of things, which you can see inside, but now you can see it up front. The good thing is we have done some custom work for several of our customers with our professional services team, which will make it easier for us to incorporate this in and make Infiniverse more proactive. We also have, of course, a number of Ansible frameworks which automate a bunch of stuff in Infiniverse. So we're basically just going to suck that stuff in. And over time, everything, whether it be consumption models, whether it be what we do with cyber resiliency, what we do with Infiniverse Mobius, our controller upgrade program. So let's say you buy 5 different InfiniBox SSA over time, and you decide you're going to do Mobius. If you didn't buy them all at once, but you're all on Mobius, that means the time frame of which you can do your upgrade is going to vary. Well, guess what? With Infiniverse, it will know that, and it will send you a note. Steve, it'll send a note to our account teams. It'll send a note to your technical advisor, which comes with it. So everyone's going to know, guess what, Steve? On InfiniBox X, Mobius, you're ready for Mobius on this date. Okay? On InfiniBox Y, it's going to be this date. On InfiniBox SSA Z, it's going to be this date. But all that will be pushed out to you. You won't have to go look at Infiniverse. So it automates things. It gives you better capability of managing that infrastructure in a very automated way. And we already are gathering the telemetry data. That's the thing. We already got it.
Right. So you mentioned service models a couple times. So just to refresh me and our viewers, you have consumption-based or capacity pricing. You have as a service.
And traditional CapEx.
So
our capacity on demands is a CapEx model, but what it is, so NAND Research, your company, you need an InfiniBox SSA.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Or you need an InfiniBox with us. So you said I'd like to get it COD. So basically, approximately 50% of the price you pay up front, but you own it now because you pay us. It's not like a service model. And then as you need additional capacity, it's already there. It's physically in the box. So you just upgrade. And you upgrade basically by letting us know we bill you, right? So Infiniverse would be able to do that, okay? Storage as a service, same thing. It's going to go up or down. It will let you know. It'll let our account teams know.
This is on-prem storage service.
Yeah, on-prem. So on-prem storage as a service. So that consumption model, again, traditional CapEx, you buy the whole thing up front. Capacity on demand, where you do legally own it, it's your CapEx, but if you will, you buy it almost in installments, but it's yours. And then we've got a full storage as a service. So Infiniverse will work in any 3 of those environments.
Well, now because it's all right. We're in cloud now.
Well, yes, the cloud as well. We have our cloud edition, which is a full instantiation. So our InfuseOS for hybrid cloud, which originally was on Amazon only, now is also on Microsoft. Right. It is a full instantiation of our software sitting in the cloud. It is a full instantiation.
What are people using that
features
for?
So, yes, five key use cases. 1, disaster recovery and business continuity. 2, backup. We work with all the major backup vendors. The InfiniBox is an ideal backup target. We got at least 100 customers using it as a backup target. Well, now the InfiniBox is out in the cloud, and all the backup software vendors go to the cloud. But now when they go to the cloud, they're going to see an InfiniBox just like they would back up to an InfiniBox on-prem. So disaster recovery service, business continuity. Obviously, test, dev, POC, in this case, they'd be running it on exactly what they'd be doing. So with their doing some custom programming in their Oracle ERP system, SAP, they're doing homegrown with Mongo or Cassandra. As they're doing that work out in the cloud, they're doing it on an InfiniBox. So when they put that software from the server side connecting to the InfiniBox SSA, they know the storage is behaving exactly that way. Okay, we do have a common interface. It is InfiniBox sitting out in the cloud. The InfuseOS is and does everything. So all the screens are the same. There's no learning curve. If you don't use something like ours, When you're going out to the cloud, you have to use the Microsoft interface or the Amazon interface. You have to learn that stuff. It may not have all the feature functions that we do. For example, InfiniSafe will work with InfuseOS Cloud Edition. Well, you're not going to get that. Not that those cloud providers aren't great partners of ours, but they don't have something like InfiniSafe in Amazon or in Microsoft Cloud. Guess what? We provide that, and it works the exact same way as it does on-prem. And then obviously is the burst consumption of extra storage. They need it. Remember, a lot of our customers are Global Fortune 2000, so they have a lot of applications that are very high performance. And I think the one thing, as much as we love the cloud, let's face it, if you're doing highly transactional workloads, A, do you get 100% availability guaranteed? No. And the default in most cloud guys is 3 or 4 nines. So if you want 5 nines or 6 nines, oh, NAND Research, we need to charge you more. Oh, what performance do you need? Oh, we got to charge you more for that too. So there is great use cases for cloud, backup, DR. I would argue for capacity, it's really bursting. You wouldn't want to run everything in the cloud because for highly transactional workloads, as you're going back and forth, you need the 5 nines, the 6 nines. By the way, we offer 100% availability guaranteed, so you're not going to get that. But let's just say you're okay with 6 nines. Okay, great. But every time you're moving that data back and forth with all those transactions, there is a bill. And that bill is your ingress and egress fees, right? So it can add up to be very expensive on top of it. That said, disaster recovery, ideal. Backup, ideal. Test and dev, POC, ideal. Burst, ideal. So those are the key use cases. And of course, because we have a common OS, everything is the same. The operating system is the same.
Single management plane.
It's all the same.
I don't have to train my storage guys to work with.
Yeah, it's all the same. You just have the InfuseOS Cloud Edition running, just like the InfuseOS is what runs your InfiniBox.
How do you license the cloud stuff?
So it is a small license fee based on capacity, but it's very low cost. It's very low cost. As you know, the InfuseOS, InfiniSafe, InfiniVerse, NeuroCache, when you get an InfiniBox, you get all that. We don't charge anything extra.
Right.
The only product on-prem that's extra is our InfuseOS Cyber Detection. Okay. And again, it's also capacity oriented. So, for example, if you have our new InfuseOS, our Cyber Detection, and you're going to have that Cyber Detection on a VMware environment, and you have a 17 petabyte G4 hybrid, and you only want to scan 100 terabytes of data store, we only charge you for the 100 terabytes, even though the box, the InfiniBox you got, the G4, is 17.1 petabytes effective. We don't charge you for that. We charge you for what you scan. But that's the only thing that's chargeable. All the rest of our software is included. In the cloud side, again, a nominal charge based on the capacity. So, but all our other software is all included.
So we think about Infinidat, we think about high performance, high capacity, but also cyber protection, right? And
absolutely.
We kind of broached that there. So what's new on the cyber detection front?
So a couple new things. So the easy one is in InfiniSafe Cyber Detection. Mm-hmm. Will be available at the second half of the year.
What's it do?
Cyber Detection allows you to scan for malware and ransomware. We announced it last year.
Right. So it's scanning my back of my snapshots?
It's snapshots. It can do file systems. Okay. It can do databases. And so you scan that for 2 reasons. A, it can be an early warning system as an adjunct to the other early warning systems you have with, let's say, something like IBM's QRadar or Microsoft or Splunk. So it allows you to do it that way. The other thing it allows you to do is you've absolutely had an attack. Well, you need to recover. And we have incredible guarantees on recovery. A, we guarantee the recovery of the immutable snapshot. And B, we guarantee the recovery time, the RTO. We guarantee on the InfiniBox and InfiniBox XSA, regardless of size, that snapshot can be recovered in 1 minute or less. We guarantee that in writing. Okay, so now you need to do one, though. You've had one, so you've got snapshots. Remember, unlike King Kong and Godzilla who scream and yell as they come and come after your city, that's not how it works. They're like Jason Bourne, right? 27 different stealth identities, right? Mm-hmm. 27 different languages, all done on the down low. Never draw attention to yourself. The ultimate spy. Well, the ultimate cyber criminal does exactly the same thing. So in order to make sure that what you're trying to recover, that snapshot, has not been infected. The average dwell time, of course, in the cyber world is about 200 days. So they're going from array to array, application to application. That's what they're doing. They're doing it in that model. So when they're doing it in that model, they're not doing it publicly, right? So you've got to make sure that you are scanning the snap. So what you do is you need to get a known good copy. So we create a fenced forensic environment. We can do it on our Infinibox, our Infinibox SSA, and also our Infiniguard purpose-built backup appliance. So the cyber detection will now work on that purpose-built backup appliance in the second half. So that's, if you will, the minor part of the announcement. Okay, and the next part related to InfiniSafe cyber detection is it now supports VMware data stores.
Okay.
So in the previous version, you could do LUNs, files, databases, but you couldn't do VMware data stores. Now you can, and the license model is still the same, whether it's on the Infiniguard coming at the end of the year or right now with VMware data stores, it's only the capacity that you scan. Okay, so, but you do need to get a known good copy, so you use it for that before you do the restore. So those are the two use cases for cyber detection. But we've also expanded our base InfiniSafe, which is free. We're adding automated cyber protection, ACP. What it does is through API integration, it allows you to talk to SIM, SOAR, syslog, or if you've got SOC. So as you know, in the old days it was a NOC, a network operating center, and now it's a SOC, it's a security operating center. So we can interface with an API, and what it'll do is we'll automatically kick off an immutable snap. So let's take an example. NAND Research, your company, Steve, you've got that Infinibox, and guess what you're doing? You are doing an immutable snapshot every 12 hours. But you also have Splunk, cybersecurity technology, and guess what? You took a snapshot, and now a half hour later, it's giving you a notification that something's wrong. The Splunk software does. Do you want to wait the other 12 hours to take a snap? Because you have no idea where it is yet. So guess what? Through that API, we'll automatically do a snap. We also can automatically kick off cyber detection to scan that snap as well. And it's all done through APIs, it's all done through automation, and that, again, on the InfiniSafe ACP, there's no charge for that. And allows you to integrate into a wider, comprehensive cybersecurity strategy. One of the things we've noticed in talking to enterprises is they clearly think about the apps. They clearly think about the network. As you know, Cisco has done a whole bunch of cyber stuff for several years now. So it's, oh yeah, okay, all the data, we've got to do cyber there. But even though all the data is sitting on their enterprise storage, they haven't really thought about it. So our position is with InfiniSafe, InfiniSafe cyber detection, all the things we do data encryption at rest, for example. We can encrypt data that's been compressed, all kinds of things that we do to protect your data, is that it needs to be part of a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy. And with ACP, we're showing that level of integration. With what we do with InfiniSafe cyber detection, the same thing, because that can be integrated with ACP, and once you do those snapshots because you've had an intrusion based on the cybersecurity software or the syslog or the SOC, we kick that off. We can then kick off cyber detection as well. And with our InfuseOS Cloud Edition, guess what? InfiniSafe works there too. So cybersecurity is top of mind. As you know, in the recent Fortune 500 CEO survey, despite other travails in the world, the economy and some of the conflicts going on, the number 2 concern was cybersecurity. Number 2. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty big. And as you know, there was a recent case. I won't talk about it, but it is public, and there was an SEC filing on it, which is now mandatory in the United States. They estimate that the cost, the direct costs, and other implications are going to be $1.8 billion. Of course, the famous case last year, one of the first times the SEC regulation called in that was big, was, of course, MGM. Right? Over $100 million. But this last one was over $1 billion. So security analysts estimate that the impact of cybersecurity on enterprises in this year, $9.5 trillion. So this is a huge problem. And they're going after everything. They're going after schools, universities, hospitals. Right? There was a couple cases last year where the hospitals couldn't treat people because their systems were down due to a cyber attack.
And it's become a when, not if. Everybody gets attacked.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Everybody.
It's when you get attacked. And in fact, what is really weird is in one of the magazines, cyber security magazines, searchsecurity.com. There was an article, and it talks about ransomware and malware. And one of the cyber mafia actually has put out a calculator to calculate what you're going to have to pay for ransom. Now, that's real chutzpah.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Really. But if they're putting that out publicly and they're not worried about going to jail, I would say that cybercrime is here to stay. So every enterprise should be integrating cyber protection across the network, in the server farms, in the apps. But all your valuable data is sitting on that enterprise storage. You sure as heck should be leveraging Infinisafe cyber detection, our encryption capability, and all the things we can do to keep that data safe, because you're going to be attacked.
You know, I was skeptical of your recovery times. And then last year, if I remember this right, at your launch event, you did a recovery live in person, which is something a marketing guy should never do, right?
Yeah, and when you're almost 70 years old, you're crazy. So you're right. Yeah. So in fact, we just did one, Steve, in February, and we did 2 recoveries. We did run recovery on an Infinibox, which our guarantee is a minute or less. And we did another recovery on the Infiniguard, which we guarantee is 20 minutes or less. So on the Infinibox, 200 terabytes in 3 seconds. On the Infiniguard, a 20 petabyte Commvault backup repository, 20 petabytes, and we did that in 13 minutes. We did the same, because cyber's so hot, so we did the same webinar in Q4, and it was 4 seconds on the 200, and instead of doing Commvault, we did Veeam, because we work with all the major backup vendors. So we did a Veeam 20 petabyte repository, 11 minutes and 55 seconds. So that's the power of our cybersecurity, and it is guaranteed. Guarantee that snapshot's immutable. In fact, one of the other players in the mid-range, you can actually crack. All you do is call up their tech support line, and they'll open up what is supposed to be an immutable snap. We don't allow that. Really? Okay. Yes, and that's a mid-range vendor, but we're high-end. So maybe in the mid-range they think they need to do that. No one offers the cyber recovery guarantees. Nobody has those guarantees. And in fact, when we did one with Veeam, they were so impressed that they had me do 3 webinars in each of their 3 regions with their regional CTOs about what we do with Veeam and all about cybersecurity. Infinisafe cyber detection, and those were things that Veeam put together that were public, and they asked us to participate because they heard about the demo. Someone was on, one of the people in the CTO's office, one of the VPs, was watching, and he couldn't believe it, so he went to the head CTO and said, I saw this. This was one of the regional VPs at the CTO's office, and said, I saw it. Guy called me up, said, we'd like to do 3 of these, 1 for each region. So we did those last year, but it was based on the recovery time. But that could have been Commvault, could have been IBM Protect, could have been Veritas. We work with all of them, but that recovery time is just incredible, and it is incredibly valuable if you have an attack. You want to get back up as soon as you can, and of course you want to make sure you're scanning, because what if you put the malware or ransomware right back on, because it's could be sitting there in those snaps. So you want to scan that, which is what Infinisafe cyber detection helps you do.
Right. Well, thank you, Eric, for taking the time, and thank you for tuning in. What do you want to leave our viewers with? Where can they learn more? What's next? What's coming up?
We are going to be doing a public launch event on June 5th. We'll be doing it 2 times, one favorable to the EMEA, one favorable to the Americas. You can see that and look for the registration at www.infinidat.com. Okay. We're also going to be doing a LinkedIn Live at the very end of June. So if they missed that one, they can do that. And in September and October, we're going to be doing a global roadshow. We're going to take the G4 and all this software on the road. We'll be doing 4 cities in North America. We'll be doing 3 cities in Europe, and we'll be in Tokyo, Japan. So look for that too. You want to come see it live, whatever you need.
All right. Thanks again, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.